Hello and welcome to another video for Midas Touch Toys, Games, Collectibles. And today we're looking at something that's now quite old, very collectible, and is becoming increasingly more difficult to find, especially in this mint unopened condition. Now we are looking at the 1996 release by Applause from their Star Trek The Next Generation series of collectible miniatures, which were released for the 10th anniversary of Star Trek The Next Generation. And this particular one we're looking at today is of Q, the Q miniature, who was the intergalactic godlike being that appeared in Star Trek The Next Generation and Star Trek Voyager, come to that. And obviously it's all based on the Star Trek Next Generation television series, which is an American science fiction TV series. It was created by Gene Roddenberry and it originally aired from September 28th, 1987 to May the 23rd, 1994, spanning 178 episodes over 7 seasons. It was the third series in the Star Trek franchise, and it was inspired by Star Trek, the original series. It is set in the latter third of the 24th century, when Earth is part of the United Federation of Planets, and it follows the adventures of the Starship Enterprise, the USS Enterprise NCC 1701D, in its exploration of the Alpha Quadrant and the Beta Quadrant of the Milky Way galaxy. And the show had an all-star cast. So you have Patrick Stewart as Captain Picard, Jonathan Frakes as Commander Riker, Lever Burton as Geordi LaForge, Michael Dorn as the Klingon officer Mr. Worf, or Lieutenant Worf, Gates McFadden, who was Lieutenant Beverly Crusher, Marina Sirtis, who played Councillor Deanna Troi, Brent Spiner, who played the android Data, and there was also Will Wheaton, who played young Wesley Crusher throughout the 7 seasons, and Denise Crosby, who was in the first season as the security officer, Natasha Yar, but she also did make appearances throughout the series as her Romulan counterpart. 7 seasons made, 178 episodes, extremely popular television series. Probably the most popular Star Trek series ever made, I would say. The show reached almost 12 million viewers in its 5th season, and with the series finale in 1994 watched by over 30 million viewers. And of course, due to its success, Paramount commissioned Rick Berman and Michael Piller to create a 4th series of Star Trek, which was to become Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and that launched in 1993, while Star Trek Next Generation was still running. Now, obviously, once the last episode was finished filming in 94, the cast and crew went straight to the movie set to film Star Trek Generations. And that was followed in 1996 by what I consider to be one of the best Star Trek films ever made, Star Trek First Contact. 1998, they did Star Trek Insurrection. And finally, in 2002 was Star Trek Nemesis. However, we have had pretty much a reunion of some sorts with the Star Trek Picard TV series, which ran from 2020 to 2023, with the last season really was a really episodes of Star Trek Next Generation, just as an older crew. Now, the budget for each episode was a whopping $1.3 million. If you compare that to the $195,000 for the first season of Star Trek, the original series, it's a whopping budget. But obviously, a very, very popular television series, so it deserved its budget. And obviously, lots of merchandise produced, especially for that 10th anniversary. And what we're looking at today is from the series of the Applause collectible miniatures. And this particular one we're looking at today is of Q. This is the box it comes in, and it says everyone loves to get Applause, and you got the Star Trek logo, and it says Star Trek Collectibles Q miniature. If I just drop the box down, we got pretty much the same on top, Star Trek Collectibles, and everyone loves to get Applause. If I turn the box to the side, you've got the Star Trek 30th anniversary logo. Okay, so it's also 30 years, as well as the 10th anniversary of the Next Gen. everyone loves to get applause. So 1993, yeah, so it would have been the 30th anniversary as well, yeah. Okay, oh, let's go to the side, and there's that image of Q on his judge's uniform on the throne, as we saw in the first episode of Star Trek and the last episode of Star Trek, The Next Generation. It says, for adults, collectors only, Star Trek Next Generation, product name Q Miniature. This is a Starfleet data log. Stardate 47988 and 4153.7, and counter at Farpoint and all good things. Production number 101 to 102 and 277. Aired week of September 28th, 1987 and May the 23rd, 1994. This is when the USS Enterprise begins its maiden voyage to the site of the Farpoint station. Captain Jean-Luc Picard and his crew find themselves on trial for the fate of humanity, hijacked by the powerful entity known as Q. Picard must bargain with his crew's lives to prove humanity's worth. Q hails from an extra-dimensional domain known as the Q Continuum. Having judged humanity as grievously savage and barbaric, Q allows the Enterprise crew to undertake their mission at Farpoint, but not without much playful interference on his part. Q returns to bedevil the crew of the Enterprise and the space station Deep Space Nine time and time again, but he also appeared in Voyager as well, but this was before Voyager actually came out. Okay, bottom of the box. Just applause and their details at the bottom there, Star Trek Next Generation and the barcode there. Okay, I think what we're going to do now, we're going to open the box, we're going to take it out, and we're going to have a look at this gorgeous miniature. Okay, so I removed the item from the packet, and this is what we got. And before we have a look at the actual miniature itself, we've got this little tag which comes with it, which is Downpace, who was the distributor, the important distributor for Applause in the UK. And that's their details. And you also have this little certificate of authenticity, which says Star Trek Collectibles, certificate of authenticity. Star Trek Collectibles, we hereby certify that the Star Trek Q miniature is a first edition piece created exclusively by Applause under license from Paramount Pictures. And you've got Star Trek 30 Years logo on the back, and the Applause logo and their details and copyright information at the bottom there. Okay, let's have a look at Q. And there he is in his judge's attire on his throne as he floated around in the first episode of Star Trek Next Generation and the final episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. So looking very, very smug in his chair there. On the bottom, again, it says Star Trek The Next Generation, and you've got the Applause details, all rights reserved, the copyright and licensing information, made in China, 46155 is the item number, Q miniature, collectible only. This item is not a toy, and it's first edition, and this is number 4,724 of 5,000 pieces worldwide. Okay, nice colours, nice and vibrant. It's quite heavy, but let's measure him. So we're looking at about 11 centimeters from the bottom of the base to the top of his head. And if you measure the side of the base, is about 8¼ centimeters, and if we measure across the width, we're going about 7¼ centimeters. So that gives you an idea of the size. And Q is in his red and black robes with his necklace there, and sitting on that throne chair, as I said before. So really, really nice to say. It is quite heavy, but does make a wonderful, wonderful display piece. And it's not a bad likeness of John DeLance, who played Q in the TV series. It's not bad at all, really. They have got his face just about, I suppose, as close as you could possibly get on a cast miniature. But it's done very, very well. Does look the part, and as I say, would display very, very nicely in any Star Trek display. Okay, how well did they do back in 1996? Well, yeah, I mean, they were very limited runs. I can remember us having these come in the shop. We had the whole collection of them come in actual fact, and pretty much they sold very, very quickly. because it was something that was completely different to anything we've had before. A lot of the collectors wanted these to go onto their displays, and we had, I can't remember how many there was in total, maybe 10 different ones came in, and they pretty much went out within the first week of going onto the shelves. We did actually get more stock in, and they did stay on the shelves a little bit longer, but overall they sold very, very well until those numbers were reached and you couldn't get any more, basically. And this was no exception. So this was probably one of the most popular ones at the time, because Q was a very, very popular character from Star Trek The Next Generation. A very lovable rogue is pretty much what we all know him as. Okay, let's move forward to 2025, which is where we are today. So we're moving forward, well, just under 30 years, 29 years to be precise. Do these come up for sale very often on the platforms? Well, yeah, I mean, you can still pick these up on the platforms. They do appear from time to time, some more than others, and this does tend to be one of those ones that does seem to appear more than others. I did have a quick look on the platforms. I did found that over the last few years there was probably about 5 or 6 of these in the boxes being offered for sale, all sold as used though. There wasn't any being sold as new. So this particular one we have here was a shop find. We did buy out a load of shop stock, which consisted of probably about 20 of these miniatures, but various different ones, so not all this one. There was a few Q, and there was quite a few different ones. For those of you that watch our videos regularly will know that we have done some videos on some of the others, and there's a few more videos which we will be doing on the remainders. But these are all ex-shop stock. Until I've opened this one, it had never been out of the box, and will be returned to the box and resealed up, back available for our customers to buy on the website. But to answer your question, yes, they do pop up from time to time on the platforms, not in any great quantities, and in various different states of condition and price. So do bear that in mind if you do intend to buy on a platform. Alternatively, you can come straight to us at Midas Touch Toys, Games and Collectibles, where we have, I think we've got about 4 of this particular one, which is available to purchase on the Midas Touch website, which you can get to very simply by clicking the link below. It'll take you straight to the website where you'll be able to find this and many, many other vintage Star Trek items. And many other vintage toys, games, and collectibles come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I'm absolutely positive that this is something that you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new items which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there is something in particular you're looking for, something old you've never been able to find, something quirky you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long-lost childhood memories, well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know, the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful, wonderful vintage Star Trek The Next Generation collectible Q miniature with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next video. So bye for now.